All right. Now let's talk a little bit about artificial insemination in cattle and the importance of it and how we've been able to utilize that tool, especially in our purebred operations, to really advance the genetic progress that we've had here in the United States. Artificial insemination is something that's not widely used in the beef industry. If you look at it in total cow-calf operation, and our commercial producers, it's probably less than 5% of them are going to be utilizing artificial insemination, whereas in our purebred producers, the vast majority of them are going to be utilizing artificial insemination as a genetic advancement tool there. So a little bit of history on it. It goes back to, in theory, we've talked about maybe back into the 1300s, where we've seen some horses that were actually inseminated. In 1780, we had successful AI in dogs. In the 1900s, with livestock, it became popular in cattle in the 60s and 70s. And we've been successful in cattle, sheep, goats, swine, horses, dogs, cats, poultry, lab animals, humans, and insects. So it's widely used in animals, as well as can be used for fertility treatments in humans as well. Again, in cattle, it's very fortunate. It's a fairly simple procedure. It takes just a little bit of training, but it's not very invasive, whereas in sheep and goats, we're using most of the time more of a laparoscopic type procedure, so it really has to be a very skilled technician with some really up-to-date technology as well. Some of the advantages of using AI: we can maximize the use of outstanding sires, so in being able to enhance the genetic value of the herd. So myself, as a purebred or registered cattle producer, I'm able to be able to use multiple sires within a herd, so I can match genetics on the bull with what I think would work well with the genetics of my cows. I also can take and have access to bulls that I may be able to purchase semen for $50 to $100 that I can use to inseminate a cow, whereas if I were to try to purchase the bull, he may be $100,000 to $200,000 bull. So again, it provides that access to those high quality sires at modest prices. You improve the herd by selecting that best sire to match the female, as we talked about. Records and genetic traits are available. So we've got some of these higher value sires that are going to have more progeny on them, so we have a better, a more accurate ability to protect their genetic merit as well. And we can also prevent the disease transmission of sexually transmitted diseases as well. So just here as an example, we can take a bull, as we can see this Angus bull right here, and he may be the top of the breed in whatever trait we're selecting for right there. And we have the ability to take advantage of those sires and to look at that. And so some things to think about there when you're considering artificial insemination. For a purebred producer, trying to stay at the top of the game or be competitive in that market, artificial insemination is an extremely valuable tool that allows them to do that, and especially for smaller producers that can't afford maybe a herd sire that is of high quality there. Some of the disadvantages of artificial insemination: one, it requires a skilled technician. It's something that the average person can be trained in, but you do have to have that skill set, and the more times you do it, the more proficient you get, and the more accuracy that you'll have as well, the higher success rate. It's more labor intensive because the females must be watched to detect estrus. You got to have some handling facilities as well. The sires need to be trained for collection, and sometimes those sires may be able to mate a cow and may be able to settle cows, but the challenge is they may not. You may not be able to collect that semen. They may not be able to freeze that semen and thaw it with acceptable fertility levels. It can accentuate poor traits if a poor sire is selected as well. And something we've seen over recent, probably 10 to 20 years, we've seen some genetic defects pop up in different breeds where a particular sire line was a carrier of that, and it turned out that sire was also desirable for other traits, and so we really spread a genetic defect across a particular breed. So we have to be careful with that as well. So again, how prevalent in the beef industry? 5% of the beef cows across the board, that's purebred and commercial, and 16% of the beef heifers. The beef heifers are typically an area that commercial producers want to look at artificial inseminating. And the reason for that is because when you artificially inseminate, you're going to group those cattle together to where you breed them closer together. They're also going to calve in a more less spread out calving season, which if you're calving out heifers, it reduces your labor and time that you're having to watch those heifers for any kind of potential dystocia problems there. The other thing with heifers, you can use some bulls that may be really high value bulls for the industry, and the fact that they are very low birth weight, but at the same time, we call them curve benders. They have a lot of growth and performance in them. So they're small calves, but they take off and they grow as well. So just a little bit of, this was a sample budget that pulled out of a publication, and you can see artificial insemination versus natural service, just a partial budget here. And you've got your drug costs for setting up those cows and trying to synchronize them, your semen, technician fees, any additional labor that are associated with gathering those cattle up. That would be your increased cost. Reduced revenue on AI, you're probably going to reduce the number of cull bulls that you have. So you can see there. Increased revenue as far as the additional weaning weight that you may see. 25 pounds per head in this particular study. The value of the additional weaning weight in that herd was $3,339, and that was assuming 115 head of cattle. Change in calving percentage, they actually increased the percent calf crop because they were able to monitor fertility a little better, move those cows closer together. They still use bulls to clean up, but they were able to decrease the number of bulls, and that's where that reduced revenue from reduced cull bulls came into. The reduced costs, you had cleanup bulls required. You still had 4 bulls, but you owned less than what you had originally when you were doing natural mating. So in this particular study on a 150 cow herd, there was a total increase in profits of $9,000 based on those market conditions there. Again, there's a lot of additional time and effort that went into that. Facilities, all those factors that go into play when we're talking about artificial insemination there. So some keys to a successful AI program. One is commitment. You got to be committed to it and committed to the details. And then also you got to have the managerial decisions, making sure nutrition is proper, just like you would on natural mating. Facilities, fences, the corrals, equipment, all of those factors go into it, and you really have to pay attention to the sire selection. Good health program and nutrition program, just like you would see in natural mating. There is more labor and more skill is going to be needed. You've got to put the time and the effort into heat detection and just paying attention to the details to make sure that you've got a successful program. Learning artificial insemination. The technique is very important, and the ability to successfully and accurately place that semen at the proper location within the reproductive tract is key. So that's the first part of artificial insemination, learning the technique of actual depositing the semen. The other portion is semen handling and thawing that at the proper rate, and also handling that semen all the way until you deposit into that cow. Those are critical things and very important, because no matter if you can actually deposit it in the proper location, if you mishandle the semen and it's no longer fertile, it doesn't matter if you put it in the right spot or not. The other factor is reproductive management, and you got to know what heat detection is and knowing when those cows are truly standing and making decisions on when we're going to breed those cows after that. So reproductive management of the herd is really critical with that. Learning artificial insemination, there is a class here at Texas A&M University you can take to be trained in artificial insemination. And then there's also a lot of commercially available trainings across the state of Texas and throughout the nation, where you go in for 2 to 3 days. You learn the technique, you learn the thawing procedure, but then you also go out and you go in a lot of cows and you're passing catheters and simulating the process of actually artificially inseminating a female. And so there are some tools available so that you can learn, and there are also technicians that you can pay to inseminate those cows as well.